April 7th, 2024. It's a cold spring day in the San Francisco Bay Area. The forecast showed really good cross-country potential, with cloud base over 6,000 feet and 10 to 15 knots northwest wind. So we planned to fly from Mount Diablo towards Patterson, a modest 50 miles. Upon arriving at the tower's launch, we watch a couple of paragliders take off around noon. I am slow to set up, but still the first one to launch at 2 p.m. in a nice straight cycle off the steep and short launch slope. There's still a few inches of snow remaining in the darker areas, deposited by a storm 2 days ago. Snow is unusual in the Bay Area, even at higher elevations, but we've been getting strong cold fronts this spring. The large, dark-bottomed cumulus cloud above launch reassures me that it would be easy to get up. But climbing high is surprisingly difficult today. Paul and Avi launch and we all spread out looking for lift in different places. Half an hour later, we all converge into a solid climb right above launch, and I register 6,000 feet on my Vario. Having wasted almost an hour at launch, I know it's time to leave. We normally want to leave the mountain as high as possible, since there aren't any good landing options over the back for the first 10 miles or so. Looking back, I see Paul and Avi following me, and it seems they agree with me on starting our cross country, even though we cannot communicate on radio. These green hills are part of the Mount Diablo State Park, which covers about 30 square miles. I point south at the next big cumes over the ridge west of Los Vaqueros Reservoir, following a heading roughly towards Livermore, and find a climb below a small growing cloud that gets me back to 5,500. I pass the reservoir still far to its west. At this point, I see Paul very low just over the ridges and wonder what his plan is. Avi joins me in the climb, but he stays in it longer than I'd like. I want to race ahead to the next clouds before the day starts shutting down. All the previous long cross-country flights I've had here have been over a yellow and brown landscape because of the drought in California over the last decade. But the last 2 years have been extremely wet. And the drought is finally over, at least temporarily. There's a blue gap here and the next cloud is too far. I have to turn almost eastward to avoid going towards Livermore or deep over the Altamont windmills. This wind farm contains almost 5,000 turbines, and it is one of the world's largest. This is the hardest part of this cross-country route, since the low pass funnels the marine breeze from the west, making the wind turbine spin, but also killing the thermals. My Vario is silent for several minutes, and I get down to just 1,300 feet above flat ground, so I don't have much time. There are some landable fields here before the big highway, so I'm not worried. Fortunately, my prediction that the cloud I had seen by Tracy was feeding from this area turns out to be correct, and I find a nice smooth thermal that I can relax in and enjoy the views of Altamont Pass and Central Valley. The large white buildings by the highway are distribution centers and warehouses for companies like Amazon and Costco, among others. The town to the east is Tracy, which has been growing in recent years as Bay Area workers are looking for affordable housing outside. A few miles south, the barren wash of Hospital Creek below seems to have a thin stream flowing. Where it crosses the highway is also where the Interstate 5 merges into the 580. The I-5 is a major route connecting the western states of Washington, Oregon, and California. The Diablo Range is one of California's coastal ranges and extends 180 miles south starting at Mount Diablo. Most of the range consists of low hills with only a few peaks over 3,000 feet. I fly deeper west right by Mount Oso, which is one of the higher peaks in the eastern Diablo Range, just 500 feet shorter than Mount Diablo. Now our goal of Patterson is just 10 miles away on an achievable 10-to-1 glide. There are a few more QMEs ahead, so I could try to fly even further, but not being on radio, I don't know where anyone is, so I want to stick to the plan. Turning east, I cross the I-5 at 2,000 feet. The road meeting the highway here is State Route 130, which goes through the wilderness and over Mount Hamilton, connecting to San Jose. As I fly over the Delta-Mendota Canal and California Aqueduct, I think of the state's uniquely complex network of aqueducts that is over 2,000 miles long. Most of the water reserves are in the northern part of the state, and these artificial rivers transport water to the Central Valley and to the dry south. Patterson is a beautiful little town, known as the apricot capital of the world. A lot of the construction looks new, and there's more being built. The evening buoyancy lets me enjoy views of the town for a while. As I approach our usual landing field, the fluttering flags and the waving grass indicate a stiff breeze. I set up my lazy approach downwind of the field, expecting a short final. I find some turbulence and have a long ground effect, ending in an ungraceful but soft touchdown in waist-high oat crop that I have to wade through to get to the road. This was a pleasant flight that could have been longer if I had launched earlier and had radio communication with the others. I am determined to fix that next time.